gentlemen, folks at home, welcome back. Me, Lil Pay. We are on our way home, and figured we'd come to you guys with a quick recap video on the Mississippi River. So that river, how do we put it? What's that river like?
I'd say that, I'd say the river's pretty hard to run. When the water's as low as it is, and it's pretty hard to find out when you only have 2.5 days to figure out a whole river system with 2 lots.
Yep.
So with that, we kind of just stick to pool 8.
Yep.
And still found out a way to run into sandbars here and there.
Yeah. So the water was like 8 feet low.
Yeah.
And some of the local guys we were talking to, they were saying that it's not normally that low, even for summer pool. And we were pretty much dodging hazards most of day 1 of practice.
100%.
I was pretty stressed out, trying not to break the boat on, day 1. And with that being said, we decided just to stay in pool 8 the entire practice and tournament and just figure it out. Well, now with that being said, later on in the tournament, it might have kicked us in the pants a little bit, but I think we actually did pretty well. So, I mean, what do you think, Peyton? What do you think? How do you think we did?
I think we did pretty good for it being our first time there. And, we kind of struggled, running around, like you said, the first day because it's a sketchy place. There's wing dams everywhere. In just the middle of the channel, there will just be a wing dam. And, so it's hard to run, but we figured it out. And we figured out some, spots that a lot of people couldn't get to. And,
Yep.
I don't know.
we decided to take our time,
Yeah.
especially on the first day
100%.
of day 1. We ended up finding, well, actually in practice, we found a grass bite.
We
It's
found
pretty much what we
a
had.
grass bite right away. And
Yeah.
when I say right away, I'm talking the second cast.
Yeah.
We found a grass bite.
Kaine, Peyton's partner, Kaine, threw a frog, first or second cast, got a blow up. And then from there, they pretty much put the hammer down on the frog fish throughout practice. The multi-species stuff made it fun. The bowfin, the pike.
The bowfin were so awesome.
The bowfin.
The bowfin were legit. It was so much fun to catch those things because they'll follow your frog for 20 feet and you just stop it and they freak out.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, they absolutely annihilate the thing. And it's just sounds like the suction. And they're on it, right? And then it's just crazy eruption of water when you set the hook. But yeah, so we found a frog bite, we found a grass bite pretty quick, and looking at a river system, especially a river system that was dropping, we gambled on it. We gambled on them staying up in the grass and staying in that shallow water, and that was actually the winning pattern, I believe, for most of the teams. And the reason I think they stayed up in that grass was because of the bluegill beds and perch and things like that were staying up shallow. And another thing that told us that the big predators were gonna stay up there was the bowfin and the pike. When we started fishing shallow, we were getting 10 bowfin to every 1 keeper bass. But with that being said, it's still a predator. And when the big predators are still up shallow, eating really freaking shallow, inches of water, that tells you should be able to run into another big predator, aka a bass, doing that. Now, day 3, we hadn't run, or day 3 of practice, we had not run any riprap or any rock really, except for maybe a few casts. And then Peyton he done messed up because he got us freaking spinning.
Yeah,
what happened on day 3 of practice, Peyton?
Yeah, so in the morning we wanted to see if we could find an area where we could just get a morning grass bite, which just was not a deal. It was really hard to catch the fish out of the grass, at least on top water in the morning, because you got to think how many teams were throwing top water every morning.
Especially in the morning, yeah.
Exactly. And so with that, we've tried that. So out of that, we went and ran riprap.
Panic.
And we pulled to our first riprap spot, and we're like, it looks like it's just a normal riprap.
The grass
bank.
dock.
And there was just this one dock that was overgrown. And I go there, Kaine catches one right away on a crank. It's like a 2.5. And I was like, well, that's a good sign. So then I catch like a close to 4-pound smallmouth on a jig.
Yep.
Then Kaine hooks up with another like 3-pound largemouth, and then I caught another 3-pound largemouth, and we're like, okay, well, there's our starting spot.
Literally in a matter of like 5 casts. And yeah.
It was not good.
It was the day before the tournament, and we were like, crap, our grass bite might not be as good as we think it is, and the riprap bite might be way freaking better.
Yep.
So day 1, we started on riprap. You know, we talked about it the night before, and we're like, let's just go start on riprap because we know our afternoon topwater bite is a thing.
Yeah.
And that we didn't really have a morning bite. We had no idea what to do in the morning, other than throw a jig and throw a crankbait at riprap or throw it at something, right?
Oh yeah. And so we showed up first thing, and I catch a really small bass, but I catch one first cast, and I'm like, perfect, they're still here.
Yep.
So then I cast at the end of the first dock, and I lift up, you feel boom, and you set the hook, and there's nothing there. Not even your jig. Your jig's gone. And you know what that is? That's a good long pokey noodle.
the spiky noodles.
The spiky
or no,
noodles.
the toothy noodles.
The toothy noodles.
Yeah, so the toothy noodles, aka the pike or the gar or whatever the hell they are, whatever was stealing baits, they lost so many lures down that bait. It was stupid. Kaine's crankbait.
Kaine's crankbait. Kaine was reeling in his crankbait, and he's just doing like a stop-go retrieve. And he just was going, and you just see him like going, and then he just like slowly starts going. He started looking at his rod. He's like, and he just like looks at us. And he's like, my crankbait's gone. And we're like, what do you mean your crankbait's gone? And he's like, it's gone.
Just no resistance, no bite, just gone. just sliced. And then, I mean, Peyton, you probably lost like 3 or 4 jigs.
4 jigs.
Yeah.
We caught 1 keeper there.
Yep. We did get like a 2-pounder, 2.5.
Yeah.
I think it ended up weighing for us.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did.
It was a tough bite though, guys. Like when we say a 2.5 pounder, like that was a good fish for this place.
That was clutch.
Based on the way the bite was, like it's not that we weren't catching bass. I mean, we were catching bass, like but 6 to 12 inchers, and you needed a 14 incher to weigh, right?
Well, I mean, it's tough out there when 75% of the frogfish you're catching are only 12 to 13 inches long.
Yeah, and frogfish, right? They're blowing up like they're big fish, and you'd swing and you'd be just skating them across the water. And you're like, God dang it, like this is another 13 incher. But with that being said, after the riprap spot, we're like, screw it, let's go to our frog area. And we ran over the frog area. I trolled over the sandbar, which took like 15 minutes.
And that almost ruined our tournament.
And yeah, ran the trolling motor into a sandbar max speed and almost broke the trolling motor.
I heard it snap, and I was like, that's it. I was like,
it made the loudest popping, snapping noise. I was like, yep, that's
I literally looked at Kaine, and I was like, well, at least we tried.
Yep. Yeah. But we got in there, and immediately, I mean, they started getting into some frogfish. They culled out. Actually, or sorry, they got their limit because they didn't have their limit yet. And I think they might have culled once or something a couple times.
Once with the big one.
And yeah, they got a 4.5 back there. On one little corner of some kind of growing over hay grass and duckweed and stuff.
It was
which
back in the hay grass, you not seeing it blow up back in the hay grass. And I just pulled it out and I saw it and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
It was, and we did that day 2 also. Day 2 we caught another one in that same area.
Yep.
And you didn't see it until you pulled up the hay grass, and it was one of our bigger fish. It was a 3-pounder.
They seem to be deep in the hay grass, like 6 inches of water, but way up in there.
So that was the tough part about our bite. Like you'd think, flip it, punch it, but it's only 6 inches of water.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard bite to get on when you're flipping and punching.
Yep.
And
it almost would spook them.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you landed on top of them or in them, in the mat more.
Exactly. And it was too heavy to, throw a frog in most of the time. So you would just hope that you would find some sparse areas back in that really thick stuff and you'd get blown up.
Yep. So day 1 they weighed in 9 something.
902.
902. With our pattern we were running, I figured we were going to remain pretty consistent. After we got those frogfish in the area, we went back to riprap, which I don't think it hurt us that much.
No.
Because we just tried to pre-fish after that, because we knew we were going to need that area that we caught those frogfish, especially the rest of the tournament, because it was like our one area that wasn't getting pounded, because we had a couple other areas, but they were getting slammed by other boats. And I think it actually helped us, because day 2 came around and we decided the riprap was not happening. We committed to grass the rest of the tournament, kind of. But we made some lure adjustments, which on a multi-day tournament, you know, I was talking to Peyton the night before. I'm like, dude, we need to adjust. Like, we can't just only throw topwater because eventually they're just not going to eat it right.
Nope.
And also we know that they're eating a jig. We know that they're eating crawfish. We know that they're eating, you know, things under the water, but you just probably had to fish slower, right?
Yep. So,
you know, we didn't practice much with it, but Peyton picked up a little Texas rig on day 2 and put a fucking clinic on them.
Dude, we got
First cat, we found a deep hole right as we get into our area, which was goose or whatever.
Yeah.
We knew there was a hole, kind of a couple holes back there. And I was like, Peyton, dude, you know what to do. Kaine's gonna throw the frog still and see if he can get him. And Peyton just started whacking on like 6 to 14 inchers.
For like,
dude,
30 minutes.
For like 30 minutes, yeah.
Just absolutely wrecking them in this small hole.
Off one like tree, right?
Off one tree branch. And when I say a tree branch, I mean like a tree branch with like 2 little things sticking off it.
Yep.
And they were just loaded underneath it. So all you had to do is drag it over it.
Yep.
And I was throwing a non-peg, so the weight would come down first and it'd flutter down the tree.
Yep.
And they were just wrecking cast after cast. And then it finally slowed down to where they were just nicking at my brush hog.
Yep.
And of course, Kaine throws in there with a drop shot and
yeah.
catches the biggest one.
He gets smart and puts down his frog and ties up a drop shot while Peyton's whacking him and gets what, like it was a 230 smallmouth.
Yeah, 230 smallmouth.
Which was not what we were expecting in that area because it was mostly grass, right?
Yeah.
So that fish, until we started throwing frogs about 10 a.m. And Kaine made another coal. Kaine put on a clinic that day, I'm not gonna lie. He
100%.
was, you know, after Peyton, you know, got us up to like 7 pounds with the Texas rig.
Yeah.
Kaine just started working and was slowly coaling them out throughout the day. I think he made a coal like the last 5 minutes left.
Yeah, he did.
Which got us up to close to 9 pounds.
Yep.
It was like 814 or something like that, or 811, which is fantastic. You know, part of tournament fishing is getting that confidence, especially on day 2, the most important day, is getting that limit and just having like a somewhat decent bag.
Yep.
Just to run around with for a while and slowly coal up, and that's what they did. They kind of had that confidence, right? To just keep fishing and coal their way up.
100%. And yeah, Kaine kicked butt that day, and we were able to come in with what, close to 9? 8.
Yeah, it was like an 811 or something like that,
814,
or 814, something like that.
814.
Which was consistent, and that's really, you know, what sucks about this tournament, guys, is it didn't matter about being consistent. It did on day 1 and day 2, but you needed like a big bag of consistency. You need like 2 10-pound bags.
Yep.
We were at like 9 pounds each day, which put us out of the top 10 for nationals, right? And what sucks about this tournament is on day 3, the weights reset, which was, in my opinion, very stupid, because it kind of screws over the people who are very consistent, which if you're a good fisherman, you should be consistent, not just catch up one big bag, right? And most of the teams throughout the tournament, they caught one big bag.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, very rarely there was only a few teams that were consistent like us, and they got screwed pretty much, kind of like we did. So day 3, we went out and we decided to just abandon goose. Well, no, in the morning we decided to abandon goose. We were gonna go to a whole nother area and then go into goose later, because we knew goose was gonna get slammed. A lot of other boats were around us when we were whacking them on day 2, and we figured it was gonna get toasted. So we just looked at the map, me and Peyton, that night. Actually, we made a wrong turn on the highway.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
This is an awesome story.
Yeah.
So we make a wrong turn on the highway. You know, we're tired, so we're pissed off.
Yep.
And we're going over this bridge, and I looked down and I was like, well, Zach looked and he was like, dude, look how good that is. And I was like, oh my God, it looks just like goose.
Yeah.
I was like, has all the hay grass and everything you've ever wanted. And we're like, how do we get back there? Start flipping out, and we found a way back there.
Yep, on the map.
On the map.
With 3 sandbars, multiple, there's 2 routes, one with like 8 sandbars, one with like 2 sandbars and a wing dam.
Yep, and we chose the wing dam.
We chose the wing dam side, yeah. And
it's fine. It wasn't even that
made it was fine, yeah. We just had to, I learned about halfway through day 2 that you could just mash over the 1 foot sandbars. And if you go fast enough, you might catch, you'll go like catch a little bit, but then you'll get going.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
And you'll be fine because it's just sand and your prop just gets sandblasted, but it's fine. And if you just pray there's no stumps on that sandbar to hit. But we made it in there, right? And you guys immediately started getting bit.
Oh yeah, no, we head in there, and my second cast I get blown up, and I like this. I don't know if it was a bass or bowfin. It seemed like a bass to me, but I just started freaking. I was freaking. I was like, "There's bait everywhere," and
the water was clear.
The water was clear. Where I was like, "We found it! We found it!" And we're like, "There's no boats in here," and of course. Boom! And I'm like, okay, that's one boat. And then you just hear, boom, boom, and you're like, no, please.
Yeah, there was like 6 boats started mashing in there, and I'm like, gosh dang it, they've been in here the whole tournament, I guarantee it. And so we went, you know, we worked our way down the grass line. I think we got one frogfish that weighed 202 or something.
202, smallest fish.
And then we got to the bridge that was back there. And I'm like, okay, like we need to just sit here for a minute because there's probably some fish on this damn bridge. And they started throwing their Texas rig around and came through his drop shot. And we found one piling where they just didn't want anything but a drop shot. And Kaine was just wrecking them
like
on that one pile.
Fish
yeah,
on this one
he had like 25 fish. I mean, nothing giant. Like, don't get me wrong. Some of those fish were 6 inches. But he was whacking on them until he finally got to like the big ones, right? Like, or better ones. He got almost 3s there, like a 280 and a 290 off that piling.
That area was weird in general because right after that, I started throwing my frog, and I just started getting murdered on the riprap with the frog. I caught like 3 or 4 fish on the riprap with the frog, and I was like, well, that's a pattern.
Yep.
And then I was like, well, they'll just eat it like right next to the riprap. They'll be underneath the grass. And I got no frog blow-ups on the grass in there. Yeah. And I was like, that was just weird, you know?
Yeah.
And the riprap in there was only like a stretch of, what, 50 feet?
Yeah, it wasn't very much riprap.
It was not much at all.
No, there wasn't much riprap in there. And that place, like, after that, we ran over to Goose, you know, trying to coal. And I think that's where we kind of messed up. You know, we should have stayed in Goose because we knew our topwater bite was going to be about 2 o'clock in there. And we got in there about 11:30, 12 o'clock, and we started working. We were getting blow-ups.
Oh, yeah.
I think they missed a couple, like 4-pound, or minimum, like probably 3s, 2.5 3s. That probably could have helped us.
Day 2, I missed one on a big easy. That was pretty big.
Yeah, at the very end of the day, on day 2 as well, Peyton had a good one blow up and miss his big easy, which was another whole topwater deal we were doing. But
sleazy, greasy,
the big greasy, big cheesy,
sleazy.
Looking for those big bowfin more than anything. But you know, yeah. So day 3, we should have stayed in Goose, but we left and we went back to Round Lake because we were all excited about it because it's a new area, and we probably should have just stayed in the area we knew. And whatever, you know, they weighed 7-something pounds, I think. 7-11, almost 8 pounds on day 3, which what 9, 8, 7.
Yeah, 9 and 7.
For the 3-day tournament, we were going down a little less than a pound every day. Actually, way less than a pound. I mean, it was weird. I think I just hate I didn't really like the format of these high school tournaments, but I get it because it's like kind of like two tournaments in one. But with that being said, I think it was good enough to get them, second place in state?
Second place in state.
Yep. And then what did we place in nationals?
In nationals, we placed 19th.
I thought it was 20th because I looked at I think we dropped down
20th.
20th in nationals, second place in California, which the first place team was on our other area.
Yeah.
There was another area called Lawrence Lake, and we found a nice little section of it right in the front where I think we caught 3.5. Kaine lost like a 5.
Yeah, Kaine lost a giant.
Dude, Kaine lost a giant. Had a couple bowfins.
Another big mistake we did. We should have checked that out.
We did check it in the morning though, and then we left it.
Yeah.
Not during the tournament, the last day of practice.
But you know, for me, I don't think that did much because there wasn't really much of a morning frog bite in general.
Yeah. We should have probably like stopped in there in the afternoon or something.
Yeah.
Or even better, this is what we should have did, and this is where I become an asshole. We've messed up another flooded pond in pool 8 on the last day of practice in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Absolutely whacked on every fish we could catch. I mean, just murdered them.
Yep.
I mean, Kaine caught like almost 4-pounder in there. I caught a couple fish.
I caught the shit out of them with the Big Easy.
Dude, Peyton was putting on a clinic with the Big Easy in there, and we were just all around practice boats. They were all watching us, and I think they were trying to leave and save the fish, but we were just whacking them. And I think we should have ran to Lawrence Lake after that and probably whacked on those fish, just to pretty much catch more fish so people couldn't catch them in those areas during the tournament, which is kind of like defense a little bit, especially if we weren't going to go there, which we really weren't,
Right.
you know, but that's part of it. Yeah, you know, I think they did very well. They kept their heads in the game. From a boat captain standpoint of sitting there and freaking watching all day, you know, you can see the progression, especially on a frog type bite, of like a decline in hook set ability, focus, things like that, and trying to stay focused especially on a 3-day tournament. They did a pretty good job of getting their heads back into it, especially when the bite windows were slower, you know what I mean? On like day 2, it was day 3. You know, we'd go a couple hours without a bite for some reason, and then all of a sudden we get into like 4 or 5 of them. And so trying to keep your head in the game and make sure you don't spin out and go run riprap, you know what I mean, or go do something stupid.
Right.
You know, that was definitely the key, was just sticking to the pattern.
Yep.
But with that being said, we are on our way home. It was a fun experience.
It was a great experience. Like, you know, there's nothing much more fun than fishing with like your 2 best buds.
Yeah,
so.
it was a blast. I mean, with the river being so freaking dangerous, and coming out of there with just a little bit of prop damage at the very end of the day when I was idling in.
Hold on one sec. For the guy that was in front of us before at the end of the last day, that was going so slow and then just slammed in reverse and had to make us go in reverse and ruin our prop, you ruined my next trip to Mille Lacs.
Yep. Congratulations.
So
we were going to go to Mille Lacs after the tournament.
So you're not my friend anymore.
And then my prop got folded by a rock. So that was fun. I was actually going to go out the next day with Peyton's little brother and go whack on some bowfin.
Yeah, so you're
on day 4 of the tournament. So I was going to go out there and just catch some
also hating on Deke.
Yeah.
So that guy's just a hater alligator.
Yeah, was he driving a Ranger or something?
Yeah,
Ranger guys. Ranger guys.
And he said, sorry.
Sorry.
And he heard it too, because Zach.
He heard the tink, 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 tink.
Yeah, because both their guys went like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whatever, it's a dangerous river. I'm happy to come out with just some prop damage, a little skeg damage, trolling motor that literally can fold.
Yeah,
in the opposite direction.
Zach did that to his trolling motor day 1.
We built a push pole.
Yeah, we had the we built a push pole
just in case.
And the trolling motor, like every time you hit it now, it goes like shoots forward.
It wiggles about like half a foot forward and half a foot backwards every time you release and you know, start power. So yeah, my boat's in some rough shape right now. We're gonna get it going again. That's the frog. That was the frog Peyton caught the 405 on.
This thing's
the biggest fish we ran into all tournament.
This thing's so juiced.
Yep.
I'm about to go throw it at a pond at Cabela's.
Dude, there was absolutely, like, there was no big fish caught. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there was a few, but like out of 400 boats, and there was like, how many fish over 4 pounds were caught?
Oh,
like
maybe,
10?
Maybe 15 at the top.
15 fish all 4 days of the tournament were caught over 4 pounds. And there was 400 freaking boats out there. That's insane. I think one of the winning teams, they were in like pool 7, or they didn't win, but they, you know, in pool 7.
Yeah.
I think the winning team out of Arizona, they stayed in pool 8 all tournament. I'm pretty sure, because we ran into them a couple times. Actually, those are the guys that kind of taught me I could mash over the sandbar, because we were fishing an area and they just hauled ass into this area, and we're like, holy crap, that's like 6 inches of water right there. And they made it in there because they're probably used to running Havasu. But anyways, this video's getting kind of long, so yep, it was a fun experience, and Peyton walked away with scholarship.
Yeah, we got 80,000 from Simpson, Kaine and I both. So
yep,
we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
I want to thank Zach, Mr. Live Fast Movement, for taking us out.
Mr. Live Fast Movement.
For taking us out the last couple of days. He definitely taught me a lot, just how to run a new body of water and all that, especially when it's sketchy like that. And he's coming back home, folks, so book a trip.
Oh, God.
Have some fun on good old Clear Lake.
Don't do it.
The Delta, Barry Yessa.
August on Clear Lake?
Yeah! Woo! Yay! Dark Sleeper 2 fish! Yeah, baby!
I'm gonna be pretty much doing night trips because I'm pretty tired of fishing Clear Lake during the day and tournaments and all that stuff in summer. So, if you want a night trip, what happened?
I just got monster up my nose.
Jesus Christ. All right, and with that, we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya!